The darkness of space stretched forever outside the windows of Relay Station Omega. The station floated in orbit around Neptune, far from Earth, far from the busy shipping lanes, far from everything. It was a lonely place. Most people did not want to work here, but Lieutenant Du did not mind the quiet. Du sat at his console, watching thousands of signals move across his screens. Most were automatic messages, trade ships reporting their locations, navigation beacons sending out pulses, scientific probes transmitting data about distant stars. It was routine work, boring work, but Du was good at it. The night shift was almost over. Du stretched his arms and yawned. He thought about the hot meal waiting for him in the station cafeteria. Maybe he would sleep for a few hours after that. The same routine he followed every day. Then his console made a sound he had never heard before. A red light began to flash. Du sat up straight in his chair. The light meant an emergency frequency was active. Someone was sending a distress signal. He quickly checked the source. His eyes went wide. The signal came from beyond explored space. No human had ever traveled that far. No known alien species lived in that direction. Yet someone was out there and they were calling for help. Du put on his headphones and listened. The voice was strange. It did not sound human. The words were in no language he recognized, but he heard something underneath the alien sounds. He heard fear, real fear, the kind of fear that needed no translation. He ran the signal through the translation computer. It took several minutes to find patterns in the alien speech. Slowly, words began to appear on his screen. "Help us, please help us. We are dying, they hunt us. We cannot fight, please anyone help." Coordinates followed the message. Du's hands were shaking as he saved the recording. He checked the signal 3 more times to make sure it was real. It was real. Someone out there was in terrible danger. He sent an urgent report to Earth Command. The response came within the hour. Officials wanted more information. Was this a trap? Was it old debris repeating a random message? Some people thought it was too dangerous to investigate. Others thought it was not their problem. The signal came from unclaimed territory. No treaties covered that region. No laws required humans to respond. Du listened to the arguments with growing frustration. A voice on that recording was begging for help. How could anyone ignore that? Admiral received the report at his home in Seoul. He was supposed to be on leave spending time with his family. But when he heard the recording, he could not rest. He played it again and again, listening to those frightened alien words. Was 60 years old. He had served in the Earth Fleet for 4 decades. He had seen many things in that time. He had heard human voices cry out during disasters, during evacuations, during battles. He knew what real terror sounded like. The voice in this recording carried that same terror. He called an emergency meeting with Earth Command. "We do not know what is out there," one official said. "It could be a trap set by hostile aliens." "It could be nothing," said another. "Old wreckage with a broken transmitter." Shook his head. "Listen to the voice. That is not a broken machine. That is a living being asking for help. Can we really ignore that? The coordinates are far outside our patrol zones. We would be sending ships into unknown space." "I know the risks," said. "I am not asking anyone to go. I am volunteering to lead the mission myself." The room went quiet. Was one of the most respected admirals in the fleet. If he believed this was worth doing, that meant something. "What do you need?" the commander asked. 12 ships, a small reconnaissance force. We go in, we find out what is happening, we help if we can. If it is a trap, we are strong enough to fight our way out." The debate continued for another hour. In the end, Earth Command approved the mission. 12 ships would travel to the unknown coordinates. Admiral would command the fleet from his flagship, the carrier Eternal Dawn. Captain Park would lead the front line aboard the destroyer Steadfast. Was 35 years old, one of the youngest captains in the fleet. She was known for her sharp mind and her fierce loyalty to her crew. When she heard about the mission, she did not hesitate to volunteer. "Someone is in trouble," she said to her crew. "That is all I need to know." The fleet gathered near Mars, 12 ships of different sizes and purposes, destroyers, frigates, support vessels, and one carrier. Not a large force, but well-trained and well-armed. They were ready for anything. Dur requested transfer to the Steadfast. He wanted to see this mission through. Captain approved his request. She could use a good communications officer. On the day of departure, addressed the entire fleet through video link. "We are going into the unknown," he said. "We do not know what we will find. We do not know if we can help. But someone called for aid and we are answering. That is what humans do. We do not ignore suffering. We do not turn away from those in need. Whatever waits for us out there, we will face it together." The fleet entered faster-than-light travel. Stars stretched into lines of light around them. Neptune grew small behind them. Earth became a distant memory. During the journey, Du continued to study the distress signal. He found new details hidden in the static, background sounds he had missed before. His blood ran cold when he realized what they were. Weapons fire, explosions, screaming. He reported his findings to Captain. Her face grew dark as she listened. "This is not an accident," she said. "Someone is under attack." She sent the information to Admiral. The Admiral's response was immediate. "All ships increase speed. We may already be too late, but we have to try." The fleet pushed their engines harder. Every hour mattered now. Somewhere ahead, in the darkness between stars, strangers were fighting for their lives. They had sent a message into the void, hoping someone would hear. Had heard, and they were coming. Du stood at his console, watching the stars blur past. He thought about the voice in that recording. He wondered what kind of beings they were. He wondered if they were still alive. "Hold on," he whispered to the darkness. "We are coming." The fleet flew on through the endless night, carrying with them the most human thing of all, hope. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of a purple nebula. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the sensors came alive with alerts. Captain Park stared at her screen. She could not believe what she was seeing. Hundreds of ships filled the space ahead. They drifted in loose groups, moving slowly like wounded animals. Many showed heavy damage. Holes in their hulls glowed with emergency seals. Escape pods floated between the larger vessels. Some ships were dark and cold, their power systems dead. "What happened here?" someone whispered on the bridge. Opened a channel to the flagship. "Admiral, are you seeing this?" Admiral's voice was heavy. "I see it, Captain. Move in carefully. Let us find out who these people are." The Steadfast led the way into the field of broken ships. As they got closer, noticed something strange. None of the vessels had weapons. No guns, no missile tubes, no defensive systems of any kind. These were civilian ships, transports, freighters, passenger liners, a fleet of refugees. Du worked at his console, scanning for life signs. "Admiral, I am detecting approximately 40,000 living beings across these vessels. They are weak but alive." 40,000 survivors. Felt her chest tighten. What kind of disaster could create such a scene? A communication signal reached the Steadfast. It was weak, barely more than static, but words came through in broken patterns. "Unknown ships, please. We mean no harm. We are dying. Please help." Responded immediately. "This is Captain Park of the Earth vessel Steadfast. We received your distress signal. We are here to help. Do you understand?" A long pause. Then a new voice spoke, clearer than before. "You came. Someone actually came. I am elder of the people. We did not think anyone would answer. Can you come aboard my ship? We need to understand what is happening here." Another pause. Could almost feel the fear in that silence. "We will come. Please do not hurt us." The shuttle from the convoy was small and fragile. It landed in the Steadfast hangar bay with great care. waited with a security team, though she ordered them to keep their weapons lowered. She did not want to frighten these beings any more than they already were. The shuttle door opened, held her breath. The alien that emerged was unlike anything she had expected. Tall and thin, nearly 3 meters in height with limbs like delicate branches. Its skin was pale blue, almost transparent in places. Large dark eyes dominated a narrow face. The being moved carefully, as if afraid the floor might break beneath its feet. Behind the first alien came 2 others. They looked even more fragile if that was possible. One trembled visibly. The first alien spoke. "I am Elder, these are my advisors. We thank you for answering our call." Stepped forward slowly. "I am Captain, welcome aboard. Please, tell us what happened to your people." Looked at the humans surrounding him. His large eyes moved from face to face. Saw fear in those eyes, deep and primal fear. But she also saw desperation. This being had nowhere else to turn. "May I ask," said carefully, "what species are you? We have never seen beings like you before." "We are humans, from a planet called Earth." Processed this information. His advisors exchanged glances. One of them whispered something in their own language. Eyes went wide. "Earth, a high-gravity world, extreme temperature variations, dangerous atmosphere." He took a step backward. "You are." Did not know that term, but she understood the reaction. "We will not hurt you. We came to help." Stood very still. Everything in his body wanted to run. His species had evolved on a gentle world with low gravity and stable weather. They had never known violence. They had never needed to fight. When they first reached the stars, they learned about species that came from harsh planets, species that were built for survival in brutal conditions, species that other civilizations feared. And now he stood before such creatures. Stocky, dense beings with thick bones and heavy muscles. Beings that could breathe toxic air and survive crushing gravity. Beings that should have been his predators. But they were offering him food. A human woman with kind eyes was showing him to a chair, asking if he was comfortable, if he needed medical attention. "I do not understand," said quietly. "Why would you help us?" Sat across from him. "You asked for help, we heard you. It is that simple." "Nothing is that simple. What do you want in return?" "Nothing. We just want to know what happened so we can help properly." Studied her face. He saw no deception there, only concern. It made no sense to him, but he had no choice except to trust. "Very well," he said. "I will tell you our story." They had been a peaceful species for thousands of years. They valued art, science, and philosophy. They had no enemies because they had nothing anyone wanted to take. Their world was beautiful but poor in resources. They lived quiet lives among the stars. Then the came. They were conquerors. They moved through the galaxy taking whatever they wanted. Weaker species were given 2 choices, serve or die. They tried to negotiate. They offered to share their knowledge, their art, their culture. They laughed at them. 3 cycles ago, they burned the cities. They destroyed the farms. They killed millions. The survivors fled in whatever ships they could find. 40,000. That was all that remained of a civilization that had existed for 10,000 years. "They follow us," said, his voice breaking. "They do not need to hurry. We cannot outrun them. We have no weapons, no defenses. They hunt us for sport. When they catch us, they will kill the rest of us. We sent the distress signal knowing no one would come. We sent it because we had nothing else to do." Felt anger building in her chest. She looked at this fragile being, this elder who had watched his entire world die, and she wanted to find the creatures responsible and make them pay. "How long until they arrive?" she asked. Checked a small device on his wrist. 18 hours, perhaps less. Stood up. "Wait here. I need to speak with my admiral." She walked to a private communication room and contacted. She told him everything. When she finished, the admiral was silent for a long moment. 60 warships, he finally said, against our 12. Yes, sir. 18 hours. Yes, sir. Another long silence, then spoke again. Captain, what do you think we should do? Did not hesitate. We should stay and fight, sir. These people have no one else. That is what I think too. But I will not order anyone to die for strangers. Call a fleet meeting. Every captain, every crew. Let them decide for themselves. 1 hour later, the votes were counted. Every ship chose to stay. Not a single person wanted to abandon the return to Elder with the news. The old alien stared at her in disbelief. You will fight for us. You will risk your lives for beings you just met. Smiled. That is what humans do, Elder. Now let us get to work. We have 18 hours to prepare, and I plan to make every minute count. For the first time since the fall of his world, felt something he had forgotten existed. Hope. Admiral stood on the bridge of the eternal dawn and looked at the fleet around him. 12 ships against 60. The numbers were not good, but numbers were not everything. He opened a channel to all ships. His voice was calm and steady. In 18 hours, enemies will come. They will be many. They will be confident. They have destroyed worlds and crushed civilizations. They think they are unstoppable. They have never fought humans before. He paused to let the words settle. I am not ordering anyone to stay. This is not our war. Earth is safe no matter what happens here. If any of you want to leave, you may go with honor. No one will judge you. He waited. No ship moved. No voice asked for permission to retreat. Very well, let us show these what can do. The fleet went to work. There was so much to do and so little time. Captain Park organized the civilian ships into protected clusters. The weakest vessels were placed in the center. Ships with better hull integrity formed rings around them. It was not much, but it would help. Sergeant No-Bai led her Marine squad onto the damaged ships. Their mission was simple: repair what they could, protect what they could not repair. Bai was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes. She had been a soldier for 15 years. She had seen combat on 3 different planets. Nothing had prepared her for what she found aboard the vessels. The aliens were so fragile. Their bones were thin like glass. Their skin tore easily. When one of her Marines accidentally bumped into a worker, the alien fell down and could not get up without help. And yet these beings were still fighting to survive. They patched their ships with bare hands. They carried their wounded to medical bays. They comforted crying children with songs Bai could not understand. A young began following Bai's squad. This one was smaller than the adults, with curious eyes that watched everything the humans did. What is your name? Bai asked. I am called, the young one said. You are very strange. Bai laughed. We think you are strange too. Your arms are so thick. Your movements are so fast. How can you carry such heavy things? Our world has strong gravity. We had to be strong to survive there. Tilted their head. Is it true that your planet has poison in the air? Oxygen, yes, we breathe it. It is not poison to us. Oxygen burns things. It is very dangerous. It gives us energy. It helps us move and think and fight. His eyes went wide. You breathe fire, air, and live on a crushing world, and you do not think this is amazing. Bai thought about it. She had never considered her home planet special. It was just Earth, just where she came from. But through his eyes, she saw something different. Humans were not ordinary. They were survivors of a world that wanted to kill them every day. I suppose we are pretty tough, she admitted. Then why do you help us? We are weak. We cannot fight. We have nothing to give you. Bai put down the heavy equipment she was carrying. She knelt so she could look at directly. Where I come from, the strong protect the weak. That is how we survived our dangerous world. We did not leave the sick behind. We did not abandon the elderly. We did not let the children face danger alone. Everyone helped everyone. That is what made us strong. Thought about this for a long moment. We do not have such customs. Each family cares for its own. We never imagined that strangers would fight for strangers. Then let us teach you something new today. The hours passed quickly. Human engineers worked without rest, repairing shields and engines. Doctors treated wounded and taught their healers how to use human medical equipment. Soldiers set up defensive positions on ships that had never known violence. They watched all of this with amazement. These did not sleep. They did not slow down. When they got tired, they drank something called coffee and kept working. They laughed and made jokes even while preparing for battle. They seemed to find joy in the challenge. Elder visited the Steadfast to observe the preparations. He found Captain on the bridge, studying tactical displays. "Your people work very hard," he said. Looked up and smiled. "We have good motivation. How are your people doing?" "They are frightened, but they are also watching your crews. Your energy gives them courage." "Good. They need to believe we can win." "Can we win? 12 ships against 60. Turned back to her displays. The think war is about numbers. They attack with overwhelming force because they have never faced serious resistance. But war is not just about counting ships. It is about will. It is about how much you want to win. And right now, Elder, there is no one in this galaxy who wants to win more than we do. Did not fully understand, but he believed her. The sensors detected the fleet when it was still 3 hours away. Lieutenant Du tracked their approach, counting ships and analyzing their formation. 62 warships confirmed, he reported. Heavily armed, moving in attack formation, they are not trying to hide. Admiral nodded. They want us to see them coming. They want to scare us into running. "Sir, we are receiving a communication from the lead ship." "Put it through." The screen flickered. A face appeared that made several crew members step back. They were large and covered in dark scales. Their mouths were full of sharp teeth. 4 eyes glowed red in a flat, cruel face. "I am Warlord," the creature said. "You are blocking my path to prey that belongs to me." Stood straight. "I am Admiral of the Earth Fleet. They are under our protection. Leave now and we will not follow you." Made a sound that might have been laughter. "Earth Fleet, I have never heard of you. 12 small ships. You are nothing. I have conquered species with 100 warships. You are a joke." "Then come closer and we will tell you the punchline." His eyes narrowed. "I give you one chance, little Admiral. Leave now and I will not hunt you. They are mine. They have always been prey. It is their nature to run and die." "Their nature changed today. They have protectors now." "Protectors? What can you protect? I will destroy your ships in minutes. Then I will take my time with the prey. Your interference has annoyed me. I will make them suffer longer because of you." Felt cold anger rising in his chest, but his voice remained calm. "Warlord, I will give you some advice. In your career you have killed many weaker species. You have never lost. This has made you confident, but today you have made a terrible mistake. You have threatened people that humans have decided to protect. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every day of our existence. We survived by fighting everything. Whether predators disease each other, we are very, very good at fighting." Snorted. "Words. I have heard brave words from many species. They all died just the same." "Then stop talking and come face us. We will see who dies today." The communication ended. The fleet continued its approach. On the bridge of the Steadfast, Captain addressed her crew. "Battle stations, all weapons ready. Remember our training. Remember why we are here. Those civilians are counting on us. Those children are counting on us. We will not let them down." The crew responded with fierce determination. Weapons powered up. Shields activated. The destroyer moved into position at the front of the human formation. Watched from a viewing port on a nearby ship. The human vessels were so small compared to the approaching enemy fleet, but they did not retreat. They did not run. They stood firm like stones in a river. "They are going to fight for us," whispered. "They are really going to fight." Elder stood beside the young one. His hearts were beating fast with fear, but somewhere beneath the fear he felt something else. Pride. Pride that such beings existed in this cold universe. Pride that they had chosen to stand beside his people. "Watch closely," said. "Whatever happens today, remember it. Remember that help came from the most unexpected place. Remember that strength is not always what it seems." The first weapons fired. The battle had begun. The first missiles exploded against the shields of the Steadfast. The ship shook but held firm. Captain Park gripped her chair and watched the tactical display. "Return fire," she ordered. "Target their lead destroyer." Human weapons were different from weapons. They built guns to frighten. Their missiles were loud and bright, designed to create panic in their prey. Human weapons were built to kill. Quiet, efficient, deadly. The lead destroyer disappeared in a ball of fire. It happened so fast that Warlord did not believe his sensors at first. "What was that?" he demanded. "Report." "The burning claw is gone, Warlord. One hit from the enemy. Their weapons pierced our shields like they were not there." Felt the first hint of doubt, but he had 60 ships. He could afford to lose a few. Continue the attack, overwhelm them with numbers. The battle spread across the space between the fleets. Human ships moved in tight formations, covering each other, creating overlapping fields of fire. They fought with precision that they had never seen. Every shot counted. Every maneuver had purpose. 3 hours into the battle, 15 ships were destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost 2. On the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, Admiral directed the battle with calm focus. He saw patterns in the enemy movements. He found weaknesses in their formation. He gave orders that seemed simple but produced devastating results. "Frigate Group Beta, rotate left. Destroyer Wing, hold position. Wait for it, wait. Now fire." Another ship exploded. But they were learning too. Was cruel, but he was not stupid. He began targeting the civilian ships, forcing the humans to spread their defense thin. "They care about the prey," said with a dark smile. "Use that against them, make them chase us, tire them out." A cruiser broke through the line and fired on a transport. The ship had no shields. The missile tore through its hull. 300 died in seconds. Screamed an order. The Steadfast chased the cruiser down and destroyed it, but the damage was done. The humans could not be everywhere at once. The battle grew more desperate. The destroyer Horizon took critical damage while protecting a hospital ship. Its captain sent a final message before the engines exploded. We held them. Tell my family I did my duty." Felt tears on her cheeks. She did not wipe them away. There was no time. "All ships tighten formation. Protect the transports. We cannot let any more through." Lieutenant Du worked at his console even though blood ran down his arm from a wound he did not remember getting. A panel had exploded during an impact. A piece of metal was stuck in his shoulder. He ignored it. "Captain, I am tracking multiple ships moving to flank position. They will hit the refugee cluster in 4 minutes. Get me a firing solution." "Working on it." The Steadfast turned to face the new threat. Its weapons fired without pause. Du kept counting enemies, tracking movements, reporting everything he saw. The pain in his arm was nothing compared to the 40,000 lives depending on them. On one of the ships, Sergeant Bai led her Marines in a desperate fight. A boarding party had cut through the hull and was moving toward the civilian areas. Children were hiding in those areas. Elderly who could not move. Wounded who could not fight. Bai met the boarders in a narrow corridor. They were larger than humans. Their scales were tough. Their claws were sharp, but they had never fought up close. Bai shot the first one between its 4 eyes. The second one charged at her with claws extended. She stepped aside, grabbed its arm, and threw it into the wall. The impact cracked the scales along its back. "You are on the wrong ship," she said. The fight was brutal and short. When it was over, 3 of her Marines were wounded, but all 7 were dead. Found Bai sitting against a wall, breathing hard. The young had never seen violence before today. The sight of the dead should have terrified them. Instead, felt something unexpected. "You are hurt," said. "Just scratches, I will be fine." "You killed them. They were going to hurt us and you stopped them." Bai looked at the young alien. "That is what I do, I protect people." "Are you not afraid?" "I am very afraid, every time. Fear does not stop us from doing what needs to be done." Sat down beside the human soldier. "Your people are strange. You run toward danger. You put yourselves between us and death. Why?" Bai thought about the question. It deserved an honest answer. "Because giving up is worse than dying. Because if we do not fight for what matters, then nothing matters. Because somewhere in that refugee convoy there are children who deserve a chance to grow up. That is worth fighting for. That is worth dying for." Did not fully understand, but they wanted to. Elder watched the battle from the bridge of his command ship. He saw human vessels taking damage to protect transports. He saw the destroyer Horizon sacrifice itself so that a hospital ship could escape. He saw things that made no sense to everything he knew about the universe. The strong did not protect the weak. The strong used the weak and discarded them. That was how the galaxy worked. That was what they had taught them. But these humans rewrote the rules. Made a decision. He could not ask his people to fight. They had no weapons, no training, no experience with violence, but they could help in other ways. He gave orders across the fleet. All ships with working engines would coordinate with human movements. They would serve as shields, as decoys, as sensor relays. They could not hurt the enemy, but they could confuse them. They could buy time. "We stand with our protectors," announced. "We may be weak, but we are not cowards. Today we fight in the only way we can." The ships began to move. They flew into the path of missiles. They blocked sensor scans. They created chaos in the enemy formation. Many were destroyed, but every sacrifice bought the humans precious seconds. Admiral saw what was happening. His heart swelled with respect for these fragile beings who chose to stand instead of hide. "All ships adjust formation to work with movements. They are part of our fleet now." The battle turned. They grew confused by enemies they could not predict. Human ships used the chaos to strike hard and fast. More ships fell. Warlord stared at his tactical display in disbelief. He had started with 62 ships. Now he had 26. The humans had lost only 4. The prey species were fighting back. Nothing made sense anymore. "Warlord, what are your orders?" Thought about pressing the attack. He still had the numbers. He could still win if he threw everything into one final push. But he looked at his crews. They were shaken. They had never faced an enemy who hit back so hard. They had never seen prey that did not run. "Retreat," said. The word tasted like poison. "All ships retreat." The remaining fleet turned and fled. They ran from 12 human ships and a convoy of unarmed refugees. As they retreated, sent one final message. "This is not over. I will return with 100 ships. I will burn everything you love." Admiral's reply was simple. "Then we will bring 1,000. The stars went quiet. The battle was over. Against all odds, the humans had won. But victory came with a price. 47 humans had died. 4 ships were destroyed. Dozens more were wounded. And thousands had given their lives in the final push. Captain sat on her bridge, exhausted beyond words. They had done it. They had actually done it. She looked at the stars and whispered a promise to the dead. "It meant something. Your sacrifice meant something. We will make sure of that." The silence after battle felt strange. For hours, the space had been filled with fire and explosions and screaming metal. Now there was only quiet. The kind of quiet that comes after a storm passes. Admiral ordered all ships to begin rescue and repair operations. Human crews searched through debris for survivors. Medical teams moved between vessels, treating the wounded. Engineers worked to stabilize damaged ships before they could drift apart. The dead were gathered with care and respect. 47 humans had fallen in the battle. Their bodies were wrapped in white cloth and placed in the cargo bay of the Eternal Dawn. There would be a proper ceremony later. For now, the living needed attention. Captain walked through the corridors of the Steadfast. Her ship had taken heavy damage. Entire sections were sealed off due to hull breaches. Scorch marks covered the walls, but the ship still flew. The crew still served. She found Lieutenant Dewan in the medical bay. The young officer sat on a bed while a doctor removed the piece of metal from his shoulder. "You should have reported this wound hours ago," the doctor said. "I was busy," Dew replied. He smiled when he saw, "Captain, we won." "We did. How are you feeling?" "Like I could sleep for a week, but also like I could fly around the galaxy shouting our victory. Is that strange?" "Not at all. That is how soldiers feel after battle. Get some rest. You earned it." Continued her walk through the ship. Everywhere she went, crew members saluted her. Some had tears in their eyes. Some could barely stand. All of them had given everything they had. She reached the hangar bay where Elder waited with a group of. They looked different than before the battle. They stood. Their eyes held less fear. "Captain," said, "I do not have words for what your people did today. We did what was necessary. You did far more than that. You changed everything. My people have lived in terror for years. We believed the galaxy was cruel and cold. We believed survival meant hiding and running. Today you showed us another way." Took his thin hand in hers. It felt fragile, like holding a bird. "The galaxy is not cruel, Elder. It was just waiting for someone to care." 3 days later, the fleet began the journey toward Earth space. The convoy traveled with them, guided and protected every step of the way. During the journey, the two species learned about each other. Humans taught how to repair their ships properly, taught humans about their art and music and philosophy. Children from both species played games in the corridors. Language barriers fell as people found ways to communicate through gestures and drawings and shared laughter. Sergeant Bai spent most of her time with. The young had endless questions about humans. "Why do you eat meat?" "Our bodies need the protein." "Is it true you can run without stopping for hours?" "Some of us can. It is called endurance hunting. Our ancestors chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion." "That is terrifying." "Only if you are the prey." "Thought about this. I am glad you are on our side." "So am I." One evening, asked a question that Bai had been expecting. "Sergeant, you lost friends in the battle. 3 of your soldiers died protecting my people. Does that not make you angry at us?" Bai was quiet for a long moment. "No, it makes me proud of them. They died doing exactly what they would have wanted to do. They died protecting the innocent. There is no better death for a soldier." "I do not understand death," admitted. "Our people live long lives. We rarely lose anyone. But in the past few years we have lost so many. I do not know how to carry so much grief." "You carry it by making their deaths mean something. By living the kind of life they would have wanted for you. By never forgetting what they gave so you could survive." Leaned against the human soldier. They were so different, these two beings. One from a gentle world of art and peace. One from a harsh world of struggle and survival. Yet in that moment, they understood each other perfectly. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth space. What they found took everyone's breath away. 300 human warships waited in formation. Not threatening, not hostile. They formed an honor guard, a wall of protection, a promise made visible in metal and fire. Behind the warships, dozens of civilian stations prepared for the refugees. Medical ships moved forward with supplies and personnel. Colony administrators had already set up temporary housing. Food, clothing, and basic necessities were ready and waiting. Stared at the screen with tears running down her face. They came. Everyone came. Admiral addressed the fleet. His voice was thick with emotion. "When we left, we were 12 ships answering a call for help. We return as heroes. Earth has sent everything she has to welcome our new friends, that will never stand alone again. Elder watched the human fleet spread before him. So many ships, so much power, all of it offered freely to protect his people. "Why?" he asked when they met on the flagship. "We have nothing to give you. We are weak and broken. Why would you commit so many resources to helping us?" Smiled. It was a gentle smile, the kind a father might give a confused child. "Because it is right, because you needed help, because somewhere in our past we were weak too. We survived because we helped each other. Now we are strong and we will use that strength to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It is not complicated, Elder. You called for help," we answered. Earth's government officially offered the asylum and alliance. They would have a new home among humans. They would be protected by human law. They would have time to heal and rebuild. When news of Warlord's threat reached Earth Command, the response was immediate. A fleet of 200 warships deployed to establish a permanent presence in former space. The message was broadcast on all frequencies. "The people are under the protection of the United Earth Government. Any attack on them will be considered an attack on Earth. Any threat to their safety will be met with the full force of human military power. This is not a warning. This is a promise." Received the message in his territory. He looked at the size of the human fleet and the determination in their words. For the first time in his career, he chose not to fight. There was easier prey elsewhere, prey without friends. Months passed. They settled into their new lives among humans. Some chose to live on Earth colonies. Others established their own stations near human space. They began to rebuild their culture, their art, their hope for the future. Stood at a viewing window on Earth Station 7. Below, a park spread across the station's largest dome, green grass and tall trees and flowing water. Children played on the grass. Some were human. Some were. They ran and laughed together, unaware of how different they were. A human child looked up at the window and waved at the strange blue alien watching from above. Waved back. "The galaxy is not cruel," said quietly, repeating the words Captain had spoken. "It was just waiting for someone to care." In another part of the station, Admiral received a medal for his service. He did not want medals. He wanted to make sure no one forgot why they fought. "We answered a call from strangers," he said in his speech. "We fought for beings we had never met. Some of us died so that others could live. This is what makes humanity worthy of the stars, not our technology, not our strength, our compassion, our refusal to ignore suffering, our belief that every life matters." He looked out at the crowd, humans, and stood together. "Let this be the beginning. Let us build a galaxy where the strong protect the weak, where no species faces extinction alone, where a call for help is always answered. That is the galaxy I want to live in. That is the galaxy we will build together." The crowd cheered. Human voices and voices mixed together in a sound of hope. Far away, on a warship, watched reports from the former territory. Human ships patrolled constantly. Human stations grew like seeds in the darkness. They were spreading their protection across the region. He had lost more than a battle. He had lost the way things used to be. The galaxy was changing. The prey had found protectors, and those protectors were the most dangerous beings had ever seen. Not because of their weapons or their ships or their strength. Because they cared. And that made them unstoppable.